In general, we're really just about high quality artwork, as I'm sure you could tell by the NFTs themselves. Building a story behind them, world building between all the story lore and the characters that we, have built around the warriors, as well as building up the community and, really just trying to give back and make everything kind of membership exclusive, based around the community itself, and give people something kind of a real world value as opposed to just an NFT, just a picture to have in your MetaMask wallet, something you can really be a part of.
Gotcha. Yeah, the artwork definitely does look pretty sick, and I think that it definitely looks really cool to me. And I haven't really said that about too many NFTs, so props to you guys. And am I correct in saying that the lore is a pretty big draw for your NFTs?
Yes and no. It's interesting because I think it's in a way, like potentially it's one of our biggest, like it draws a lot of people in who aren't necessarily involved in crypto, which is nice because you don't have to, especially with AVAX, there are a lot of projects that are really heavy into DeFi and tokenization, and you have to really understand the entire economy of something before you even invest wisely in it. So we do have a nice influx of people coming in who are genuine art and just comic book enthusiasts, those types of people, which I love to see coming in. um, but then there's the crypto people who, it's tricky because for most people it's like, okay, I get the appeal of the brand and everything, but um, I don't think most NFT projects really have a deep, genuine lore like that. So it's we get an interesting balance of people coming in, but we welcome everybody and we try to give something for everybody. We try to offer something for everybody to find their own little pockets of value.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like that. Could we, or could you go over the lore a little bit for everybody to kind of captivate everybody into wanting a Warriors Club NFT?
Oh man, I mean, there's pages. I mean, I just think with the latest the latest one that just got released is like a 40-minute read on its own. But
Oh wow.
essentially, you are following the journey. It's not so much like a chapter book of like specific chapters that you're reading like a narrative or like a graphic novel. It's kind of like a live journal. So like as our writer Hunter, and he kind of like lives with and like travels with Alpha as they're going through the story of like Megacorp and like how things are forming and how she was originally built as an AI and she was just a computer, and how she eventually like to be freed from her like principles of like I don't know if like AI principles of why they can't harm humanity, or like how they can't act in free will. And there was a whole thing about like a bunch of countries coming together and voting to have her removed from the lab that was had created her. I mean, there's just whole sections that aren't even really like, they don't even have the word warrior in them, just building the whole world around them. There was one when we during the minting, we minted out in about 48 hours, but the rate it was going at, after about a day or so, the team was split between themselves of whether or not they wanted to burn the remaining supply or just let it mint out at whatever rate it was going to mint out at. And so they put it up to the community vote. The community voted to burn, and they did a journal entry that day, and it was like a live battle with Megacorp, and like they destroyed 1,000 warriors, and we had a whole moment of silence. And one of the warriors that got saved, Bozzy, became like a whole hero, and he's like legendary in the community now. So um, there's that, and then there's now that one of the main reasons for the minting was to be able to provide our main artist Silent and our writer Hunter with the ability to pretty much work full time. So like I said, the last entry that got put out was like a 40-minute read on its own, and it's just this whole story of, I don't even know where to start with it, man. It's just basically Hunter and Alpha going through the airport, and like it's just the whole experience of them traveling. They climb up a mountain, and they find some guy in a cave eating beans, and they go up to like some ancient crypto nomad hideout where people are like turning their bodies into armored suits, and like it's just so much. And the little things they do to like add character depth, and they're not just writing a story because they feel like they have to. They're really just putting effort and love into it. And it's a tricky thing because like we were saying, it's an NFT project, so a lot of people don't see the immediate utility in it, but I think it's invaluable, man. And I think, when it comes to trying to build a brand and especially like the community of people, of diehard fans like we're going for, it just works really well. And most of the people in the community are very deeply involved in the lore. They're always asking our writer Hunter when more is coming out. So it's awesome and very, very, very deep. So more is always being added.
Gotcha. That's super cool. I think that a lot of these NFT projects are created based off of just sheer passion, and it's super awesome to hear from different people that are just like so involved in these things and explain it from their perspective. I just think that it's really cool to hear because a lot of times, if you go on YouTube, there's all these different people that are just bashing NFT projects, saying how stupid they are because they're just JPEGs. But then you hear the other side from people that are actually creating these and have the actual passion behind them, and I just think it's super cool to go from that to hearing about all the cool things that are involved in this picture and the lore behind it. And I think that's really cool. I'm going to drop the Discord in the AMA questions channel so that people can go and read the lore for themselves if they'd like to. But
Yeah,
is
absolutely. I believe those are still public for now, but eventually our plan is to make those exclusive. So like you have to be an owner of one of the Warrior NFTs to get into the lore. But I believe right now all those links like to the medium are still those are still public, I believe.
Gotcha. Are there any plans to do things with the lore? Like, I don't know, create like a little animated film or I, a story, a book, or like anything along those lines? Are you there? Can't seem to hear you if you're trying to talk. Do you want to try leaving the stage and then joining back, and I can pull you back up? Sometimes I've had it happen before.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right, we're good. We'll slip up. It happens.
Yeah.
Where did I cut off at?
I finished asking my question about adding different things with the lore, like a movie or a comic book or anything along those lines. That's where it dropped off.
Oh, all right. Yeah, so I don't think there's any official plans, but I think long-term vision, the team has said something like, I don't know if you ever seen the Arcane show, but something like an Arcane style TV show or like a Netflix series or like even just a small show. But even like a comic book, like a single one, a release, graphic novel, all that's possible. I just think that right now the main focus is to continue building it. Um, if you just look through it, I mean, just the amount that's in there right now, you could probably do something decent with. But I think they're really looking to continue to build out the story of it until they really want to put something like that together. But it's definitely possible.
Gotcha. That's super cool. I'm gonna turn the questions over to the audience real quick. There's a
For
few
sure.
questions. Um, Sorry if I butchered your name. Chamadi asks, currently NFT is developing and becoming a new innovation in the blockchain world. However, many artists slash creators still don't understand how to create NFTs. How does Warriors Club solve this problem? Do you have any plans to educate about NFT creations and kind of just educate artists overall outside of crypto?
So specifically when like bringing artists into NFTs, I'm not sure, but like our artist Silent actually just recently finished up a workshop with Futurely. He basically just goes into his whole 3D rendering and modeling process. He actually started as an architect, so he's actually taught a few classes on like his whole process and his flow, if they call it, of just using different textures and putting things together. So um, as far as like I said, bringing specifically artists and learning them and teaching them how to get involved with NFTs, I'm not sure, but yeah, we do a lot of educational stuff, and we're big about just kind of cross promotion in the AVAX community in general.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that giving back to the community in that way is super, super crucial in kind of keeping your reputation in good standings with everybody, and attracting new people through providing value to them. And I think that's really just fundamentally, just from a business standpoint, super important to any business out there or in any different group or community, is providing value to the community or customer, whatever it may be in the case. But I think that is super awesome that you guys are doing that.
Absolutely.
Another question from the same person is, why is the team anonymous, and is there any kind of like investor securities so that people are assured that it's not a scam, like a KYC or an audit?
No, so there's no token attached, so we wouldn't be doing anything like an audit. If you want our artist, our creative director and founder, you can look him up on Twitter and Instagram. He's at CGI Thug. You can totally look him up. The rest of them are anonymous as part of the sake of the story lore. They have talked about doxing themselves. I really, if it really comes down to a personal opinion, personally, I've been with them and I've worked with them long enough, and I've watched the way they've worked with people, and I've watched the attention to detail that they've paid to things where I personally have the faith in them, as well as we've gone through the actual contract address and where the funds have gone and where the money's been. We've gone into all that and made sure that everything's above board and where it should be. And otherwise, from a purely business perspective, if you're not, comfortable with the anonymous dev thing, it is what it is, and we wouldn't, force you to want to be a part of it. But, as far as whatever a personal guarantee is worth, like I said, they have nothing but my faith and the faith of the rest of the people in the community. Just, and like I said, we've minted back in, January, so it's been a few months now. So, they've just continued to stick around, and they're always active. And when you ask them, they respond. And like I said, I'm a community manager, so we get monthly payments. Those are always on time, and all the little things that you like to see from active founders, or things that you're going to see from them. So other than the fact that you don't actually know their names, like I said, if that's something that really is a sticking point for you, then it is what it is. But
Yeah, definitely. I think that whatever people are comfortable with is what they should be okay with doing, right? And
for
I
sure.
I think that just even having one docs member, like you mentioned, I think that is, uh, to me, that would be like enough confidence, especially in an NFT project where I'm not putting in like thousands of dollars of investing. Like I'm just like, I have the NFT and I'm a part of this community, and I think that is enough for me at least. And let's jump into kind of the more statistical things about the project. Like, how many NFTs are there, and then what is the minting price?
So back in January on the 28th, we minted the full collection is 8,888. Um, like I said, after 48 hours, the community voted to burn. We got up to 79.99, so just under 1,000 were burned at the mint. Then we finished up our first workshop season, which involved burning two warriors to upgrade one. So we burned another 1,000 or so warriors there. So I think right now the total collection is sitting somewhere in the low 6,000. Um, I think the aim for the workshop is eventually to get the number down to around five and then see where things are. Um, but yeah, that's where the supply is at currently. If you go into our Discord, you can see the different numbers. I believe it's on our website as well, the different numbers of specifically each species. But yeah, so sitting right around 6,000 right now.
Gotcha. And then what are those different rarities, and kind of what do they mean as far as the lore goes, or if they have connection there?
Oh man, the rarity is probably just as deep as the lore as the lore itself. So between like at the most basic level, the your basic rarities are going to be between your species. So we have at the very top our diplomats, which are kind of like um, collaborations with either different projects, NFT projects, or individuals specifically in the AVAX space. Originally, we were the AVAX Warriors. We rebranded just to Warriors Club, but we're big in the AVAX community and supporters of it. And obviously, one of our biggest diplomats was AVAX themselves. They gave us a shout out before our minting phase, which was a huge help, and always love to see that support from them. After that, you have the Zens, which originally were at like 222, I believe, and then it was Defender, Hunter, um, your terrain species. So those are like your snows, jungle, and the sand species. Um, then we go I forget the exact order of them, but it's police, civil, citizen, logistics, and construction. And those lower species are the ones that have the higher numbers that we typically see get burned during the workshops. But that was again, done on purpose so that a lot of them can have some utility. But along with the rarity, there's between the different weapons, like I said, we just went through the first workshop season, so a bunch of new assets, a bunch of new skins were put in place, a new weapon got released, the cyber scythe, which is super cool. But I mean, there's different types of armors. There's warriors with trim and no trim, and there's tiny differences between them. And then there's battle scores between like all the different stats they can have. Like if you have a spear versus a katana, it'll give you more range, but you'll be slower. And those are all put in not just to, for right now, provide a different sense of rarity, just as opposed to, okay, I have a construction versus you have a hunter, my construction's worthless, but it has a higher toughness, or it is better at crafting or whatever it is. So it adds a little bit of variety into the rarity for now, as well as in the future, it allows the possibility to do something data driven. If we do decide to go to something play to earn or some kind of staking tokenized system, we can then implement something that is based directly off of those stats. Or if we just want to go straight into an actual game, we can have battle stats pretty much loaded in the metadata that are ready to go.
Gotcha. I liked how you mentioned either going straight into a game or a play to earn game. Could you kind of touch up on those plans, or if you have anything set in stone yet, or I guess like what's kind of the overall feel for that?
So it was not really the immediate vision, but launching on AVAX, I think the original plan for the team was because there was so much DeFi staking and play to earn stuff on AVAX at the time. Because originally, just before the real NFT rush happened, AVAX was and still is really just a heavy DeFi blockchain in itself. We figured that just being with the quality of artwork and story lore alone, that we would have a something unique. And I still think we do, relative to the rest of the artwork on the chain. I still think we have some of the best. But um, with the play to earn stuff, I mean, it's really more of a personal thing. I think we would just be better suited as an actual playable game as opposed to something play to earn. I haven't personally seen a lot of play to earn systems that are perfectly sustainable. My issue with them is that, and the team's slight issue with that is that when you make the whole thing about money, you bring the community and you make them focused on money, and they're going to follow the money. So as opposed to building a brand where the people care about the brand, and whatever ends up happening with the project, the people are loyal to it. So it's not an immediate chase for the team, but I mean, obviously, like I said, given the battle stats, given that the fact that they're 3D modeled, I think the real issue right now, specifically with play to earn, is that I mean, again, more so of a personal opinion, but most of the play to earn quote unquote games aren't actually very fun to play or very high quality. And truth be told, to build a full scale game like that on blockchain is pretty difficult right now. So I think the potential for it in the future is certainly a possibility. And with the rebranding, and potentially moving to other chains for not just marketing, but just looking for other things to do. I think eventually maybe we could end up seeing something like that with the original collection, but again, it's not really something that the team is looking at for an immediate thing. It's more so based around building the community, building the story lore, and whatever other features we have planned in the roadmap right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I fully agree about the play to earn games, and a lot of them are really just trying to capitalize on the hype in the space right now. And I do see though that a game incorporating the characters on those NFTs that could look really cool, like a Skyrim type of game
Right.
or a free run open world game. I believe is what they're
Right.
called. I'm not like a super big gamer, but I'll try to stay up to date with the terms that people are using. But I think that would look super cool, and there could be so much involved in that. And I think that that could be a massive opportunity to branch out to. So sounds super cool.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, you talk to most gamers versus and people who are into play to earn NFTs. And, most people who are playing the play to earn NFTs, if you ask them, they don't play because it's fun. They play because they can make the money, and they're trying to milk the absolute most out of it. And then people who actually like to play games don't like play to earn games because they're not actual fun games to play. So something that actually is high quality, even if you weren't making money to play it. If it was actually, done well and you could build like some kind of series off of it, that would be just not, if not just as, if not more impressive to me, especially like you said, with what the Warriors are, capable of. I know the team has already said that they've done some experiments with Unreal Engine 5, so I can't even imagine what these things look like walking around. Um, Metaverse partnerships is another thing that we're looking at always, and again, that's another thing that is just kind of one of those buzzwords that sounds nice, and there's a couple like real simple, pixelized, kind of looks like the old school Pokemon games that you can walk around in. And for some of the NFTs, it's cool, but for something like the Warriors, we would really want to do something high quality that provides an actual valuable, you know, uh, product for people to either use or play or whatever, as opposed to just saying, "Hey, we're in the metaverse and we can say that."
Yeah, could you actually touch up a little bit on what your thoughts are as far as metaverse partnerships and what exactly that might look like? Or I guess if anything is still set in stone. I know you guys are still doing a lot with the different development work and lots to branch out to.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, realistically, right now, I think there's even a couple options that we could do. There's a couple small projects on AVAX that have, a quote unquote metaverse that we could probably get our Warriors in. But I think the team's really concerned with the quality of it and something that's, real, I mean, you just look at them as the image themselves, the 4K rendering of them, and again, the fact that they're 3D modeled, I think it would just be doing them a little bit of an injustice to have them walking around as, two-dimensional pixelized figures. Um,
Gotcha.
But it's definitely something that we have on our radar. I mean, we've been I mean, one of our marketplaces, Klau, actually has just a. It's not so much like a metaverse as much as like a more like a virtual VR gallery, and even that the team hasn't really gotten into, just because the actual quality that's realistically available just really isn't there yet, relative to what we want to be able to provide.
Gotcha. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Another question I had is what is your favorite part of being a part of that community?
Oh man. um, my favorite, like singular favorite part. Um,
You could talk about a few things you like about it too. It doesn't have to be one
yeah, no,
specific thing.
it's tricky. I mean, I like how it doesn't feel like a job. As much actual work as I do for them, um, I never feel like I'm working. And as much as I'm always, helping people out, keeping things organized in the Discord, doing updates, whatever it is, it's fun and I love it. I love the people that are there. Everyone that's in there really cares about the project and isn't just there waiting for their money to come back. And it just seems like everybody who's a part of it is really down for it, and just being a part of a community full of people who all have a common vision and a common goal and a common taste in artwork, and just things to drool over, and just all the additions. Like we have a bot in our Discord that just, displays your warriors when you question mark the name of them. And we spend all day just, here's my warrior, here's this one, here's another one. Oh, I didn't know this one existed. So just going through the different artworks and rereading story lore and just like everything, man. Just all the little things that the team has been able to develop that just give us things to talk about constantly and have fun with. So
Yeah, that's super cool. I'm always amazed by how involved that these NFT projects can get their community in, and I think that's super cool because like you go to like even like an in-person social gathering and everybody's doing their own thing or in their own little groups, but then you get all these projects together that have a singular focus on the warrior NFTs, and then you get hundreds of people that are all interested and find it super cool and are passionate about it, and then they all talk, and then I mean it just creates this sense of like this massive sense of community that I think is so cool that a lot of these projects can pull off. And I don't know, I just find it really fascinating how different things like warriors and whatever else crypto punks or whatever NFT may be can kind of pull off a community of that size.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, like you said, even in general, like even just out in the world and normie land, people's attention spans are pretty difficult to capture. It's probably tenfold that in the NFT space, especially with the amount of projects going up left and right. So to really be able to, give something people that they want to latch onto is very, very difficult and very impressive when it can be done properly. So always give props to the team for what they're able to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely agree. And then I guess my last question would be, a lot of NFT projects kind of advertise themselves as a really good investment opportunity. Is that something that you guys are doing? Or is this more so exclusively for people that want to get invested in the lore of things and not the monetary side of things?
So I think the main focus is to get people who really are in it for the lore and for the artwork and for the community itself. But it's an NFT project, and it would be foolish of the team to not want to provide some kind of value for the holders. Um, but what that value ends up being is up to them. I think it's really the trick is providing different types of value, like we were saying before. The heavy crypto DeFi people that are coming in are gonna want their heavy utility, and then we have the people coming in from the art scene that just kind of want to see the continuation and growth of the brand and the story. So continuing to do both of those things. We have our second workshop coming season, so making the warriors deflationary, lowering the overall supply and increasing rarity for some of them and making them more upgradable or potentially customizable for some people who are really into that and looking to trade and collect and then flip for profit or whatever it is and increase their rarity, while also building out the story lore and continuing to do things like this and just host or be a part of AMAs. And so a little bit of both, really. I would say, I mean, I don't know if there's an exact percentage that they have allocated, but maybe like a 60-40. But I would say the majority of the focus is to bring people in who are really focused on the artwork and the story and the brand itself. Because once you do that, then I think the value and the outside rush of that hype is what really comes in afterwards. But it doesn't come in from nothing.
Gotcha. I think I would fully agree with that answer. And you see these projects all the time advertise themselves as the next Bored Ape Yacht Club and CryptoPunks, and
Yep.
you're gonna make 100x on your money, and then they just fall flat on their faces because there's no either utility or no cool artwork. And I think that bringing in people for the lore and specifically marketing towards those people, the people that are actually going to participate in the community and stay in for the long run, is definitely the way to go in these NFT projects that are really meant for that lore, not just a monetary gain. Actually, I lied, and I do have one more question, and that would be, where is the money going from the mint? Like, is that going towards project development, salaries? Yeah, I guess like just where all that would be going towards.
Yeah, so some of the portion, I think I said this earlier, some of the portion went to making our artist and our writer full time. Um, so they are not work. I think literally our artist was working in a kitchen before he was able to go full time after we got him all paid up. Some of the originally the render farms, they didn't the team didn't own them. A couple of them were loaned out, so they had to pay back on those, the render farms, and then they ended up buying some of their own to do some additional artwork that gets added into the story lore. A lot of it went on the Avalanche P chain, which is just literally like they staked it essentially, and locked it up. And the rest, there was a certain amount that went to taxes and VAT bill. And then, like I said, a couple of the other, I'm not sure if every member of the team was made full time, but a couple of the members were given salaries, yeah. And then, like I said, the rest has been staked, and then everything else is for research and development for the rest of the stuff in the roadmap, like the 3D model airdrops, whatever metaverse stuff, more marketing, more render farms for, whatever, like I said, artwork or potentially more collections if we decide to go that route.
Gotcha. I like it. I think that definitely makes sense. But yeah, thank you so much for answering all my questions. I think you did a phenomenal job doing that. Is there anything else that we haven't touched up on that you think it would be worth mentioning?
I'm sure I'm gonna forget about something, and then I'm gonna kick myself when I get off of here for not mentioning it. Off the top of my head, we're working on getting launched on Curate. We're on like 5 different marketplaces right now already, but that's hopefully going to be a really big step for us getting on. We're going to be one of, if not the first, Avalanche NFTs. Right now, Curate is strictly Ethereum, so hopefully that's going to be a nice little bridge for us to be able to get some eyes on us in there. I don't know if it's going to make things explode overnight, but given the rate that Curate's been growing, and again the fact that they're strictly Ethereum, is definitely going to be a big help to us. So that was, I believe, looking like soon, the end of May. I haven't looked into their roadmap specifically. The last word I got on the team was like late May. They were looking at rolling out AVAX, but there's that. We have the workshop season coming up. We don't have an official date for that yet. Our merch store is currently live. If you want to get a printed warrior, a printed version of your warrior, they have a aluminum version, which is like a 30 by 40 centimeters. It's a nice little printout. We have a couple pictures of that up, I'm sure, somewhere in their Discord. And you can just get a regular paper print as well, and they came out really good. I didn't get one myself because I'm still working on. I want to upgrade my Warrior True Machine a little bit before I get them all, printed out and nice looking. But hopefully, I'll get one of him made.
Exciting stuff, man. That's awesome to hear. Well, thank you again so much for coming on and taking your time. And I think that it's definitely a unique project with the massive lore behind it and all the passionate community members. So I, I I enjoyed hearing about it. So thank you again so much for sharing.
Thank you for having us, man. I appreciate it.